we're going to have to run this show during the breaks because you guys don't stop. Now, we are talking about Carney. We've agreed then. You've agreed that he is going to be leader. And now we're talking about when and how we're going to have an election. Are we going to have one fast?
Yeah. Yes, we are. And it's
Why?
gonna, well, because there's a couple things. He has to disclose his assets, for one thing. I'm being cynical.
Right.
There has to be
this prime minister would not want people to know what he owns.
I mean, he's been involved with many organizations and groups. There's no doubt there's a financial interest there. We have to settle the conflicts of interest that are potentially out there, and so does he. The second one, how long can you keep using the Trump issue?
Right.
It's very important for Canadians right now. People are really ticked off. That only has a shelf life. After a few months, from my old days in Gas Buddy, you realize, he kept tweeting about where gas prices should go and prices would go up or down. After the first year that worked. After the second year, it didn't work at all. No one paid attention to what he was saying. So I think the same thing will happen here. Mr. Carney has a very short window in which to operate, in which he can minimize the damage that is coming to the Liberal Party. My view, and someone can contest this, the Liberal Party will not win the next federal election. The fact that we're having this discussion 30 days after or 40 days after Justin Trudeau resigned, when they were going to get 6 seats, is nothing short of a miracle. But I don't think that can go that far. I think Canadians have decided it's time for this group to pack up and go and redefine themselves.
Anthony, Liberal activist, do you agree?
Liberal activist. I am a member of the party. So I agree with Dan because I do think there will be an election right away, and there should be an election right away. Because I don't think that the Liberal Party of Canada members should elect a prime minister in longevity. We have one. It's going to happen. There's many of examples in our history. John Turner, Kim Campbell. We didn't vote for Kim Campbell. She took over. She won a leadership election. Then there was an election.
But that's
federal
an
election.
old tradition.
Yes,
1891, MacDonald died. We had 4. I think it was 4 prime ministers between 91 and 96. Not one of them elected by people.
Yes. So but I think for the sake of democracy and being transparent, you guys are talking about transparency, let's have a federal election. Let's let the Canadian public decide. And I'm fine to do that.
Democracy. Yeah. Should Parliament have been prorogued during this important time? We haven't heard any debate in Parliament.
I'm going to go ahead and answer your other question quickly before we answer that one, because I think there should be a federal election. Because to Dan's point, I don't think the Liberals are going to get wiped out in the election. I think there's been a bounce back. I think there are people who are interested in the party again with new leadership. Potentially, yes, that could work. I do think we have a chance to be the official opposition or even win potentially. You don't even know. We don't know what's going to happen. It's all going to be what the election does.
Absolutely. Now, the question you skirted. Should Parliament have been prorogued?
I would have done the same thing the Prime Minister did, because I don't think people right now want to...
You are a cynical Liberal. You are in there just for power alone.
Oh, no.
The Liberal Party should be there running the country. Dan,
no, look, the prorogation after several months of what has been virtually a suspended Parliament, or House of Commons. I bumped into Greg Ferguson the other day when I was in Ottawa last week, and I'm surprised that this could have happened so quickly. Now, the Liberal Party finally had to find its footing and say, Justin, there's the door, please take it. But I think the damage is already done, and that we have not, and this is why I think Mr. Carney has to call an election early. He can't, nor can his caucus come back to that House of Commons and face the assault by Pierre Poilievre. When that happens, the Conservative numbers go through the roof. When
you say we need an election early, is that just self-interest so that the party can renew itself?
It doesn't get better than this. It doesn't get better than this. And some people say, I like the new idea. I don't like Pierre Poilievre because he's too rough, he's too tough, and we need someone who's nice and smooth, nice hair, nice socks, nice selfies, sobbing, that whole thing. Canadians do like that, and some people do vote that way. But I think for a lot of Canadians, it's going to come down to a question of, how am I doing today? Now, they can blame Trump for that, but they also have to look at the last 10 years and say, my decline in my standard of living has been going down for quite some time, and that is a universal feeling that people have, regardless of where you were in the political spectrum over the past couple of years.
So then, can Carney say, well, that was then, I'm leading a new party, a new government, and don't blame me for what that rotten guy Trudeau has done for 10 years. Yeah. We are going forward.
Except
it's a brand new chapter.
Except the last 5 years is that you were the one responsible for that economic malaise.
That's a minor detail. Can he overcome that?
I wouldn't agree with Dan on that, because you can have 5 advisors in the room. They can tell you what you're doing is wrong, and you'll still do it anyways. Like this reminds me of Ross Perot on the board of General Motors, who told Roger Smith, "You are going to bankrupt this company." They gave him $900 million. They sent him packing, and then the company went Bankrupt.
Yep.
Just because Carney's there doesn't mean people are listening to him. You could have an advisor. I could hire you as an advisor, and you could say, "Don't wear this red or burgundy blazer," but I wore it on your show today.
I would
it doesn't
never
matter. Yeah, that's
advise
the
you.
whole
Except
thing.
that the advisors, so there's still Katie Telford and Gerald Butts.
Well,
We have
that's a
real
whole
problem.
different conversation. We were talking about
it's
Carney.
one that goes together.
Outsiders.
Win, McGuinty, Trudeau, and now Carney. I don't think people
run
want to
that place in Ottawa for 10 years. They ran Ontario for years before then, and they want to continue running because you know what? It's a great gig. But more on that gig when we come back after this quick break. And then don't talk during the break because we miss all kinds of good stuff. Zip it. There we go. There's it. Right back after this.